And we're live on Raw Dog on election night 2024. Ed's got uh, he's an NBC fan, CNBC, so he's watching NBC.
Yeah,
I'm
I like to.
watching the I'm watching the Fox News because I like people to think that I'm part of the cult.
Well, no, I mean that's what we need to do is have you got. Usually, what I do, like if we weren't doing this, I would be switching back and forth from left wing media to right wing media and try to figure it out. So
Yeah,
you got the right and I got the left.
yep. Because Indiana was the first state to call for Trump, even after that bullshit graphic you put up the other night. I didn't get it, man. That went over my head. I
Well,
know that all
that's
the
just if everybody vote. That's the Civil War.
I thought it was. I thought it was
Yeah.
I knew that I recognized that part, but I thought maybe you were trying to secede again.
Oh man, yeah, I'm totally for it. I'm down if some people in power want to do it.
I'm telling you what, man. The next lines are going to be look a lot different than the last time it happened.
Well, yeah, I mean that's part of the problem. Is that so? If you go back to the Civil War, uh, we had very clear geographical
Florida just called
lines.
for Trump.
Yeah, I mean he needed that. I mean
Yep.
he had to get that to win. But yeah, what makes it tough today is that it's not even states. I mean it's large urban centers versus rural people. I mean if you go back to 2016, that's what politics has been about: rural people versus urban people. So how do you even begin to split that up?
Yeah. Well, I think you're going to see if it would ever happen again. This is all hypothetical. I think you'd be see a big red block right in the center with some blue fringes along the northern around the Great Lakes region and blue on blue on each end for
Well,
the most part.
here's my idea, and I'm not the one who gets to pick how we do this or if we do this. But if it was, so we divide up the country, we cut it in half some direction, and then we have like a 2 year kind of in between phase where you've got 2 years to decide where you want to go to live, you know, and there'll be no violence till then. But at the end of 2 years, if you're, a
But
right
it
wing
just
person,
it can't come to that, man. It just can't because it's that's pretty dark talk. But there are people thinking about it. That's a crazy thing.
I'm
We've
thinking
always
about
thought
it.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, what I think is that we're so split down the middle, and that's why tonight, it'll be like 2020. I mean, obviously somebody's going to win, but it's not going to be a landslide.
I
We're so split down the middle, number wise, and it's World War One. We're all in our trenches, and nobody's making any ground. And it's just going to go on and on and on unless something happens.
Well, we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff tonight. I'm going to keep an eye on 127 in Colorado. They're not expecting that to come in for a little bit. We've got Proposition 2 down in Florida, which is their right to hunt and fish. And then Prop 127 really caught my eye this year in Arizona because that is probably the best ballot initiative I've seen where it has to change the Constitution about how they can file ballot initiatives. And have you read anything on that?
On that, actually, what's going on in Arizona?
Yeah, Arizona 127. Have you read anything on that?
No, just what you've told me about it. I mean, I think it's a great idea, and we were talking about it before we went on the air. So what that combats is it goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's the rural versus urban. So like in Oklahoma, we lost our right to fight chickens.
Well, let's lay out 127 real quick if you don't mind before we
Yeah,
get too
yeah, go
deep
for it. So
too
everybody
far
knows what
down
we're
the
talking
road.
about.
Um, I had it pulled up, but basically what it says, they're going to change it. They want it the ballot. It's on the ballot right now to change it where if you're going to file a ballot initiative, then you have to gather 30 you have to gather signatures from 30 different legislative districts, representative districts. So that will prevent walking like they're doing in Denver right now, walking down the street to get their signatures, for the whole state of Colorado. What Arizona is saying is like you can get some of your votes from Phoenix, but you also need to go down to, you know, Springerville, or go some of these other places in rural Arizona and get some of those signatures too.
Yeah, you can't just get all your signatures from
Right
two
in front
counties that you want.
from the Whole Foods in front of in Phoenix.
Yeah. So that's
It's
what I was getting at. So like when we lost in Oklahoma, when we lost our right to fight chickens, that's what happened. It was a ballot initiative. So they had to get X amount of signatures to get it on the ballot. So they just, they got all their signatures from Tulsa County and Oklahoma City County. And then, like I was saying, the urban people outnumber the rural people. So the urban people just get to like dictate our culture. So what Arizona's doing is, what they're going to try to do is, it's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, and it's going to be good for it's going to be good for our crowd because you just can't allow people to dictate what you're doing in Peggs, Oklahoma from Tulsa, all the time on everything.
Yeah. And like the thing in Florida, so in Oklahoma, it's been a number of years ago, we got our, what they call right to hunt bill. And it's
Yeah,
basically just like getting out in front of a potential problem down the road. I think a lot of southern states already have that, right to hunt fish. Ours is hunt, fish, trap, and I think it's even like
Indiana does too.
forage or something like that. But
Yeah, Indiana has the right to hunt and fish. The thing about and that's Proposition 2 in Florida. The thing about that right to hunt and fish, it is a good thing. I'm not going to say it's not totally useless, but it doesn't guarantee. All the state has to do is provide you the opportunity to hunt, and that could be with an atlatl and barbless fishing hooks. Just all it does is guarantees you the right to be able to do it. It doesn't spell out the method. So there's still a lot of work to do, even in Florida. I hope people down in Florida are like, I'm a houndsman and we just got the right to hunt and fish, because I think they'll probably get it down there. But
yeah, it doesn't mean it's wide open. There's still
yeah, it doesn't mean
regulations.
you can go out and hunt with your hound. It doesn't mean you can hunt. You're still going to have regulations, and that's where the work comes in, because you've got to still be influencing, making those relationships, and keeping our lifestyle. Just like you talked about chicken fighting, obviously, I don't know a thing about that, but if it could have been massaged and maneuvered a little bit different than and relationships built and maintained over the years, maybe you'd still have it. I don't know. Do you think
Yeah, I
you'd
mean,
still have it?
do I think we could still have it?
Do you think you would still have it if you would have had some different?
No, no. I mean, so whenever we got it outlawed here in Oklahoma, the only other state that had it was Louisiana, and they lost it. They lost their right either 1 year or 2 years after us, and that's the pessimistic side of things, is that I tend to think like all we can do is just kind of hold. We're like hanging off a cliff, and we can just kind of get a little bit of a grip that helps us hold on a little bit longer. But I think in the long term, like our way of life is doomed.
Right, right. And I think trying to look at. We had a question. Robert Balzer asked if it was available on YouTube, and yes, it is, Robert. I just looked that up, so it is playing. This show is a live feed on YouTube as well. Let's get to some of the comments. I want this one to be highly interactive. I hope it doesn't come to another civil war, but it's not looking good.
Well,
And that's Fraylin Vance.
Georgia's looking really good for Trump.
What's that?
Georgia's looking really good for Trump. They got like 37% in, and he's up double digits. So that's good.
We're not to the cheating time yet.
No.
Yeah.
No, like we were talking about before, like what we're going to be looking for is the big thing that we'll see tonight is some state that was supposed to go to one side and surprises everybody and flips. I mean, obviously the swing states, you know, we're not going to probably know them tonight, but we're looking for those states that flip where they weren't expected to.
Yeah, Chris Watson, he's been tracking this thing. And hey, Chris, send me an email address. I'll pull you on. I'll put you on here because you've been tracking this Arizona thing pretty close. You're actually where I started. I picked it up from some of your Facebook posts. So send me your email address in Messenger, and I'll drop you an invite and bring you on so you can talk about what's going on with this thing in case we missed something.
Yeah, and so like if Arizona passes that proposition, then that should be something myself and other people that are active, you know, in dog hunting associations, we should try to, because states love to copy other states' laws. That's how most of these laws get done. They're just copycats. Almost nobody writes anything original. So if it passes in Arizona, like it would be a good law to bring to.
Every ballot initiative state.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, because you can show a precedent. I mean, if they lose there, I mean, you can still try, but it's an uphill battle at that point. But I mean, like Oklahoma, like we're ripe for that because uh, we're so rural. Like most of our power is still, we're kind of the anomaly. Like most of our power is still out in the country. So yeah, we,
Right now there are 26 states that have initiative or referendum. So 26 states that can do that. And
is there?
that's yeah, 26. 26. Indiana is not one of them. So I'm telling you, man, I travel all over this country and tons of places I love being, but if Indiana's America, it really is. Larry Anderson, my late buddy Larry Anderson, used to always, when we were working in Kalispell, Montana, we'd get ready to roll down to Idaho and get out of the valley for a little while. And he had a place down there, and he's like, "Let's go to America," you know. And we'd load up, and when I was getting ready to head back home, he goes, "I was getting all my stuff in a pile," and he's like, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to America," and we're standing in Idaho, you know, but I was going to Indiana.
I've never been there.
Indiana or Idaho?
I've never been to either one of them.
You
But
need to go to both of them.
I was talking about Indiana, but yeah,
Yeah.
I've been to most states, but I haven't been up in that Northwest very much.
Yeah. I'm gonna look and see how many states have a right to hunt and fish as well.
Roy says Idaho's the new California. That doesn't surprise me.
Well, Roy's just negative.
Well, I'm negative
He's right
too.
though. He really
Yeah.
is. My uncle lived there, and Boise was just blowing up. He sold out, paid cash, and and bought a place in the Ozarks with cash from what he made on his house.
Oh, I mean, it's the same thing with like Wyoming and Montana.
Yeah, I was listening to something earlier where they're questionable which way Montana's going to swing in the presidential race. 21
Yeah.
states have a constitutional right to hunt and fish right now. Let's see what they are. Alabama, Arkansas, California. See, there's a good example of what we're talking about. California has a right to hunt and fish, but look how oppressive, even with that right to hunt and fish, their regulations are. Idaho, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Minnesota, Mississippi, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, Wisconsin, and Wyoming.
I mean,
So which one?
really, what
Huh?
that is I mean, at least I can speak from Oklahoma's point. So, like when they did that, it hadn't been all that long ago, but it was basically a reaction to like the animal rights stuff. So rightfully so, everybody was kind of scared, that because they do like
Oh,
move
we
in.
got. Hey, I just saw a graphic come up. Trump is trailing in Ohio.
Yeah, I mean that's not a real big surprise though,
With
right?
J.D. Vance being from there, I think he is. I'm not even going to let this jackass in with a name like this.
What do you put on there?
Hares rule.
We're
Hey,
live from Seth's patio, baby.
I'm turning your mic down.
Yeah, it's pretty loud.
Yeah, turn that settings down there, homie.
All right. Let's see here. Mute mic. That might be helpful. Let's see. Where's that? If. Let's see here. Maybe I'll just speak with a gentle bass like I'm on NPR.
Here, I got you.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know where to find it. It's a beautiful 50-degree night, and I was like, I'm not going to be inside. I got to be outside. It's the only
I
way.
hear you.
So I'm set up on the patio, about to crack open a really manly can of stevia soda. Yep, that's right. In the spirit of the election, I figured I'll go full right wing.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we've just been mixing it up on all kinds of things. Ed and I are both watching election results. We're talking about rights to hunt and fish. Getting back to this constitutional right to hunt and fish, a couple states that aren't on there that are surprising to me. One is South Dakota. I can't believe South Dakota doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
They have a Houndsman Association there. They need to get on that.
Yeah. How effective do you think it is, though? I mean, really. I mean, when you got to California takes a lot of abuse. I know there's some great houndsmen. We had Michael Ewing on the Shorty Gorham show the other night, and guy's a hard hunting dude. And a lot of good people in California, but with California having that constitutional right, how effective is it? You think?
Like I say, I think it's just it's kind of a safeguard against it goes back to what we're talking about. So it's kind of a safeguard of uh, animal rights people moving into a state, not even moving in, just coming in and trying to influence politics and try to get some broad ban on some type of hunting or fishing. It doesn't mean that there's no regulations. It doesn't mean that the local fishing game can't change seasons or make adjustments. It's a broad protection.
Right.
I think it's good to have. It's not, once you get it, that doesn't mean
Right.
everything's done and you can just sit back, obviously.
And it really depends on how effective your club is. If you're taking it super seriously and you have active members and an active membership, it can make a huge difference. But if not, then maybe not.
Yeah, that's what we're saying, man. You got you still got a lot of work to do. Just because you've got that constitutional right, that might just mean you can hunt, and it might be with sticks and sharp rocks.
Perfect.
Like I say, it's like like I say, it's a broad safeguard. So
But it doesn't mean you can chase a jackrabbit down with your hound.
No.
Okay, now I'm enraged.
Exactly.
It just means we don't. It goes back to that thing I was talking about in Oklahoma where they got our chicken fighting banned. It saves a broad ban like that. That's never happened in any state that I know of. But I mean, in today's atmosphere, it's possible.
Yeah, anything's possible.
Yeah, we got a question coming in from Jason Snellgrove. He runs. Jason, man, put your podcast name up here. It's. I'm thinking about too many things. I just talked to Jason the other day about what's going on over there in Missouri with those hounds that got shot. But Jason, I saw, to answer your question, I was on Colorado's Secretary of State website, and they're expecting election results to start coming 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. The Coonhound Collective, I apologize for that, Jason. Jason runs the Coonhound Collective podcast.
Out of where?
What's that? He's out of Missouri.
No.
He's out of
Okay.
Missouri.
Missouri.
Yeah.
Well, Missouri just went for Trump. That's not a big surprise.
No. Nope. I got to put Robert's comment back up here. Indiana doesn't get a lot of love, and he wasn't even in there. And I mean, I worked in Terre Haute. I like that area, but it's most people in Indiana consider, like Gary is the armpit, and Terre Haute's like the asshole of Indiana. But I worked over there and it really is a great area for hunting and fishing. Though you got there's more public land over on that side of the state than anywhere else. A lot of river bottoms. You got all the Wabash River. It's just West Terre Haute kind of throws a wrench in the whole plains over there.
Robert's
All
on
right.
something really good too. He says higher life form elevating the live. Yes. Shout out to my fellow sighthound hair lovers. What's up? Chris, I don't know why you invited me to this. You just knew I was going to bring this down intellectually quite a bit.
I don't know about intellectually.
I'm trying to figure out what you just said.
Yeah, it's been a long day. I was really happy to be a part of it, but it's been a long day. You text me kind of at the last minute and were like, join us. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, you can hang out for a little bit, and then we'll kick you out of here. I don't know if I can. Can I? Yeah, I can. I can remove you. I've got the power.
You are
I think you can
technically-
remove me too, though. So I better be.
Yeah, I was
nice.
going to say, you are technically my boss. You just tell me to get out and I'll leave. But yeah.
What else we got? I'm going to start looking at Secretary of State stuff in Colorado. I don't think there's anything up yet, but I want to get it pulled up anyway so that we know exactly what we're looking at.
Yeah, that's a big one. What's your feeling on how you think that's going to go?
Cody Lostro put up
real-
some numbers from a pretty liberal county the other day, and the polling numbers showed it like 92% to 8% against Prop 127. So,
So you think it's pretty safe, but it's going to fail?
I think it's going to fail. There's a lot of work being done there. The proponents who wrote it, cats aren't trophies. The radical extremist group, they've been writing some op-ed stuff that talking about how we've outspent them and how we've outworked them and stuff like that. So, not directly, but that's what the message was.
I just saw numbers for Ohio, and Trump is down, but it's like a 1.5 points.
Yeah.
So Ohio's not lost. And who knows? I didn't see what counties we're in yet.
Yeah, Oklahoma just went for Trump.
Yeah, I mean
That's no surprise.
What?
I would bet anything.
Yeah.
We don't even have a single county go blue. That's what I was telling
Tennessee
Chris.
crushed. It's 76% in Tennessee
Yeah.
for Trump.
Interesting watching Virginia. That was a big swing state, and Michigan. Everyone was kind of watching that one too.
Virginia's going to go Harris.
You think it will?
Probably.
Yeah.
I do too.
That Beltway area up there in Fairfax County, that always goes hard for the blue candidate.
Georgia, Trump's up 11 points in Georgia.
Go.
It's just crazy how
they're probably holding the Atlanta votes out right now.
urbanized Virginia's become.
Well, who else has got stuff that they want to talk about on this thing? Chris Watson has not sent me an
Email.
address. I'd love to get you on here, Chris, so you put your 2 cents in on. Tell us what's going on with that ballot initiative. I was going to look up election results for Colorado just to swing in and see what's going on. I've got a direct link to it. Hang on a second. Yeah, they're not reporting anything.
Probably nothing's going to be. I mean, the ballot initiatives we'll probably know tonight, but it'll be late.
Yeah. Yeah.
Presidential, we won't know tonight.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. We did that show Sunday night with Shorty. Like, it's alarming. There are over 500,000 gun owners and hunters in the state of Michigan that are not registered to vote. Over 500,000 in Pennsylvania that are not registered to vote. And that just blows my mind. I don't understand that. I don't understand why people don't exercise their right. 170,000 in Louisiana, for instance, that are not registered to vote. Those are hunters and gun owners.
Yeah, I mean, it's this mentality. It goes back 250 years. It's this mentality that most of them know that they're probably going to lose their rights, but it's this all just become an outlaw mindset.
Well, and it's just crazy how many people don't vote at all. That when I turned 18 and started voting, and I saw voting statistics across America, I was just like, what? I mean,
Yeah.
when you vote, it feels amazing. Like, go live in other countries, which I haven't, but I know lots of people that have. And it's just crazy how it is awesome to be American and to be able to vote and have your voice heard. It feels incredible. Like, I just don't understand why people don't vote more.
Yeah, but like 2020 didn't help that. Because I did vote this year. I swore in 2020 I'd never vote in a national election again. So I went to the polls today just to vote on local stuff, and then I thought, shit, I'm here. I might as well vote on president. Not that it matters in Oklahoma, but so yeah. So when people perceive cheating or there is cheating, that cheapens the vote, and I mean that just pushes people to get more.
So you think it's a voter? You think it's a voter confidence thing where
I mean, if I have no, yeah,
they have no
But voting
confidence
was already
that
historically
their voice is
low
being
for a
heard.
long time before that. I mean,
yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean it was. I'm not saying that's the reason for the numbers Chris was talking about. I'm saying, but that what happened in 2020, whether it was real cheating or just perceived cheating, it looked bad, and that does not help the cause of getting people to vote. If you think that, why should I take off work early and go do this because it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Chuck Reynolds makes a good point. Too bad people don't pay as much attention to state and local elections as they do federal elections. I
could
think
not
they're both
agree more on that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
they're
far
both.
more. It's far more important, and your voice is far bigger in local.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The-
Especially when you live in rural America, you know.
Yeah.
Todd Adkins at Sportsman's Alliance, we've had this conversation a lot. That's where the freedoms are taken away. You know, Indiana's going to go all red, and we're all like, yeah, they'll never take my freedoms here. But your county government can impose tether bills, whether your dog's inside or outside. You know, they can't. They may not be able to come after my right to hunt and fish because we're a right to hunt and fish state, but they can sure as heck come after the way that I do it. And
Yeah.
there's plenty of people that show up at local meetings to try to take those rights away, and the people that don't show up to make sure we keep them is us.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's it goes back to so we had a tether bill popped up 3 years in a row here in Oklahoma. So we have to beat it every year. Like we have to beat them every single year. They just have to win 1 year. So, the first year they throw that up there and we beat it, of course the people that were pushing for it are not happy, but that doesn't mean it can't come right back up again. We have to win every battle. They just have to win one.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's relentless. It's never ending.
And once you lose it, it's gone, man. You'll never see it again.
You can't.
I'm really
get it back.
curious
I
to
mean,
see if trapping can make a comeback on public land in New Mexico, but I don't want to be cynical, but I think you're on the money, Chris. I really do.
when
Yeah,
you lose
so-
something, it's twice as hard to get it back.
Yeah. Yep.
You don't think it'll ever come back?
I do if it was an aggressive campaign to bring it back, as aggressive as Houndsman XP has been to, battle Prop 127. I think that's the kind of energy we would need to bring it back. And I think it was stonewalled completely, and that's one of the reasons it failed. It was stonewalled completely by the legislation to have any opposition like us speak in favor of keeping trapping. But yeah,
It's also
I mean,
it's strictly a numbers game. I mean,
that's it. Yeah.
there's not as many guys who are hardcore trappers as there was,
Yeah.
even 30 years ago.
Yeah, dang. With fur prices as bad as they are, I mean, it's a dying thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
why would you trap?
Well, I mean, but what we hunt,
Yeah, I was
And
gonna say I catch a rabbit.
there's no
it's
market
useless.
there.
Yeah. I mean, and that's gonna. But whenever the fur prices are reasonable, not even high, just reasonable, it will bring people into
Mm-hmm.
trapping.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's hardcore trappers, but
Yeah.
do you know people that actually trap for money in the lower 48?
Well, yeah, but it's not like old fur trade stuff. It's more contract
Hobby
contract
hunting.
work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
or
contract work. Yep.
Yeah. So it's one of those. It's one of those deals. It's like, but there's still a management value for trapping, and the guys that love it know what their purpose is now, and it's on that management side of it.
Mm. And I mean, of course, there's people that are just hobby trappers too, but it's a problem. That's hard to It's hard to battle that legislatively. It's not such a powerful weapon as management. I just say I'm just gonna until I get a setup like Ed's. I'm actually pretty proud of my little setup right here. I got my mic on the arm of my rocking chair, and it's
There you
it's a
go.
lot better than holding it, dude.
I'm
It's working out
telling you,
pretty good.
I was checking it out. I'm gonna have to get into some of that.
Yeah,
All right,
I just no way I was gonna be inside. I've been waiting for winter all year, and a cold front just blew in, brought some rain. We've only gotten 3.3 inches all year here since January, and so it's been brutal. And to just get some rain and drop it's like 48 right now out here. It's just perfect. Like I'm just in hog
we've
heaven
probably
right
got-
now.
I bet we've got 6 inches in the last 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I'm so jealous, dude. It's been brutal. This drought is just unrelenting, and it's insane. I've never seen the desert so dry.
The thing is, we were in a drought before that. I mean, we had ponds drying up, and I don't even remember the last time it rained, honestly.
Yeah, it's been really depressing. I'm gonna be honest. That's really the only word for it. So hopefully next
we're not
year.
typically dry this time of year either. I mean, it's not normal for us.
It is. This has been the heat and the drought have been pretty much record breaking every year for the last like 4 years. It's just been like the saddest records keep being broken. So, and we haven't even had our first frost yet. And we usually have our first frost around November 4th historically. And it's still, I think tonight's low is going to be like 38. Let's see.
I mean, you do live in a desert, Seth.
Dude, it gets super cold here in the winter, man. Like,
It gets like
Our-
20 degrees.
let's see. Yeah, so 38. It'll be 38 tonight, and then 37, 36, 32, 33. So, yeah. I mean, that's the thing that I was in Seattle like 3 days ago, and it's like that temperature swing daily is 4 degrees. And my wife was like, "What's the temperature outside?" I was like, "The same as it was like 9 hours ago."
Yeah.
You know? But here it's 35 degrees every day. So it's kind of crazy how quick it warms up, and then as soon as the sun dips, it's just plummeting. I mean, you live in Oklahoma, it's very similar. Yeah.
No, it's not similar at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, I mean, not where I'm at. Maybe out in far
Yeah.
western Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know where you are exactly, but
It's in
Yes, I
pegs.
mean, you guys have no insulation on the ground, so all your
none. Yeah,
you
my
lose
yard
all-
is just beach sand. Yeah,
so you lose all your heat at night.
exactly. Yep. And fast.
Glenn Riles corrected me. He lives probably a couple miles from my house. He said we got 7 inches in the last couple of days here.
Wow, bring it our way. Holy crap.
The news media is not even reporting on proposition number 2. I'm hoping that John Hall jumps on and joins us tonight. Maybe he can give us some results there on Prop 2 down in Florida. Their right to hunt and fish.
Yeah, Robert said that Fox is reporting that Ohio is leaning red. NBC had it leaning blue, but not by much, like a point and a half.
Yeah, isn't Ohio a big battleground right now this year? Or always?
Yeah, always.
Yeah, it's always pivotal.
Trump doesn't have to win it, but if he wins it, it'd be really good.
It's really close everywhere. That's what shocked me. Is just how close it is all over. It's just
Yeah, I think if he doesn't get Ohio, he has to get like Michigan or Wisconsin.
Do you really think it's that close, or do you think it's part of the cabal? I think it's part of the cabal. News outlets can't sell advertising during a blowout.
Oh, you mean,
I mean, think about the
are you talking about
I'm talking about the multi-billion-dollar market around this election process. You know, and it starts early in the year, and everybody gets all whipped up about it. You're talking about billions of dollars in political advertising. You're talking about Pfizer being able to advertise their drugs on, you know, during the news. If it's not close, then who's going to watch it? How many times do we turn off a football game when it's a blowout?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think
Ronald Reagan won in a landslide. And I mean, yeah.
But
I don't
it
know. I
wasn't-
wasn't alive to see the advertisement at that time, though. Yeah.
It wasn't.
I mean, I think people would still watch because everybody is so ingrained in their camp. And if you
Yeah.
think about it, I mean, look at the last election. I mean, the country is pretty evenly divided, 50-50.
Isn't that crazy how that works out? I always found that incredible. Like, how come it always evens out? Like, when you look at, like, gender demographics, or I guess, like, biologic sex demographics, to not offend our massive liberal audience. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, isn't it crazy how it's like always 50-50? It's amazing how that is like nearly true random. And it just kind of always surprises me that America kind of evened out like that. It's so
Well,
weird.
it didn't used to be that close politically.
No, it didn't. There's like a
I mean, it shifted.
really, yeah,
I mean, through decades, it would shift slightly, but you know,
yeah, right.
for the last almost 20 years, it's been pretty much straight 50-50. And yeah,
So crazy.
NBC just had Trump up in Ohio, so he flipped it a little bit.
Yeah, I just saw Trump leading in Ohio as well. Yeah, I think it's a kind of a sad case in American politics anymore. It's like even among close family members, if it comes up, it usually just turns into something ugly, and it's just really weird how you can't even. I almost never talk about it with anybody because it's just become so divisive and so ugly that unless it's someone that you really trust and it's someone that you really know that can like have a mature conversation about anything, it's really like an impossible topic these days.
It's
just
because
impossible.
everybody has just dug in.
Yeah.
It's
The
like I
radicalization
said earlier.
is
It's like
crazy.
it's World War One. Everybody's dug in their trenches. Nobody's changing. Nobody's mind. I mean, I like to think I keep a pretty open mind. Like if I can sit down with a liberal, if they will actually listen and think instead of just regurgitating, you know,
Everyone does that though.
talking points, and I'll do the same. But not many people can do that anymore. Everybody's just in their camp. It doesn't matter.
Well, everybody's just so volatile about it, you know.
That's the thing.
But you talk about it being ugly. It's not nearly as ugly as a war.
Well, no.
Yeah, I know. That's what another thing too
No.
is. I think
Yeah.
people get really dramatic about it, and I'm like, dude, we had a civil war. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not that bad right now. Like, it's not.
We've
as bad
already
as it
covered
could be.
that ground. Ed and I were drawing the lines for the new secession. You got to figure out where you're going to be there, Seth. You're right there on
Well,
the fringe.
He says World War One. I'm like the guy staggering around in no man's land that just got hit with phosgene attack, and now I'm just kind of like blinded and snotty and walking around until I get mowed down by a machine gun. Probably that's
Yeah.
how I feel.
Uh,
Blown apart by artillery or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, and you know, so that's what makes the left. I mean, the right is no better, but so like on the left, in the last few years, you've had Elon Musk go right. You've had Rogan go right. Like, and I watched these guys over a long period of time transition to the right. There's some other examples of public figures doing that. Tulsi Gabbard. It's people that think
RFK
log-
Jr.
Yeah, RFK. Like they're thinking. I mean, they're actually they're putting some thought into it, you know, and
Right.
they're making a decision on where they think they lie. But
I was listening to Tulsi Gabbard 3 or 4 years ago when she was on Rogan, and listening to her, she's got a lot of common sense. I mean, she's not extreme left, she's not extreme right. I'm not a middle of the road type person, but it's she just talks plain, and I think that's one of Trump's biggest downfalls is that his delivery it pisses people off, and if he did you listen to the Rogan podcast with Trump on it, Ed?
yeah, yeah,
I'm telling you, man, if he could talk like that every day and just be sensible about things and leave the rhetoric off of it, just stand at the border and say, this is what it's about. This is what we're about right here. It's not just about not allowing people to come in. It's the fact that there's kids being abandoned at our border and walking around and children dying at our border
I think part
because
of his thing though is that being like super like loud and bombastic and aggressive, that was like a huge part of his thing.
I
You
think we
know,
need. I think we needed that. I think it took somebody like that to like wake everybody up and get them fired up.
it's definitely happened. That's definitely
I
happened. I mean, voter
I
turnout
see
last
that
year.
point.
Did you watch Vance on Rogan?
Yes. Yep.
Oh,
What'd you think?
oh, I wish he was the head of the ticket.
Everyone says that, dude. Everyone says that.
I mean, he's a
The vice
common.
presidential debate was better than the presidential debate by a
Yeah,
mile.
I mean, he's a normal dude. You know,
That's
he
exactly what I told my wife.
doesn't talk like a politician. He's not like picking words. He's just talking like you would talk if he was sitting on my couch.
Trump
I
is
I
super
figured
old.
that
Like it's a
I figured
possibility.
the Trump camp was going to have a meltdown after that. There were a few moments in that podcast where I'm sure that the handlers or whoever for Trump were like, I can't believe
About-
he just said that. Like when they were talking about Hunter Biden and the cocaine, and Rogan's like, yeah, that's the fun part of Hunter Biden, and Vance said, well, you can say that. I've got an election to win in 6 days,
Yeah.
And I could just see his political advisors going, oh my gosh, I can't believe he, even hinted that was okay.
Yeah, but that's what people want, and
They
that's
just want
what
real.
and that's what Trump. That's what Trump brought in 2016 is that he was like a breath of fresh air. Yeah,
Yeah.
he says some crazy stuff. He makes people mad. He says what you're not supposed to say, and that's why he won because we were like, this is something new and different. So if you listen to those political handlers too much, then you lose that. You lose what you had.
Yeah.
You're not authentic anymore. So I would hope that when Vance goes on something like that, that when he walks off camera, there's some people there.
I think once they saw the results of it, they were like, oh, okay, I guess that played okay.
Yeah.
That must have played pretty good. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
If Trump and Vance win tonight or whenever, I think Vance is going to have a long future in politics.
Yeah. Oh, I think he does anyway. I think we'll see him on the ticket in 28.
Possible, you never know.
Yeah.
I usually just stay out of people's business and I don't really get riled up. But when I was in Seattle, I was just like, man, maybe I'm not as open-minded as I thought I was. Yeah, I did kind of laugh a little bit to myself, but I don't, man, I just have a hard time getting worked up about most things. The only thing that really gets me worked up is the loss of public land. That sends me into like a blood-curdling rampage.
All right,
Um,
so let's talk about that because that's something that directly affects us as hunters. We hunted on public land in the Gila. You
Yeah.
know, the West is dominated by public land. Public land in the East is a little bit different. It's more chopped up. It's more checkerboarded, but there are very few places like, like the Gila or the
everywhere where I live. Yeah.
White Mountains in Arizona.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. There's just very few places like that. So you've always got the deal where people automatically think that Republicans want to take all that away and the Democrats want to preserve it. You live in the middle of it every day.
Yep.
What's your thoughts on it, Seth?
That stereotype's held pretty true here, but it kind of vacillates depending on who's running. But like Steve Pierce was pretty anti-public land. I do remember pretty serious.
What do you mean? Define that anti-public land.
He was just really an advocate for removing federal land and giving it in handing over either extraction rights or privatization rights of federal land to either becoming state land or to private hands. And that was when I first really truly started getting like kind of quote unquote politically active, I guess would be the word. Because it's really the only thing that I feel like I'm going to go out and be a part of. And I was 20. I think I was like 20 when that was going on. And I'm going to be honest with you, that really excited me to be an American because it was kind of my first taste of like political action. And I went out there to protest at his headquarters in Las Cruces. This is not his well, it's part of his district, but he's not really based here. And what made me so happy is it was like, dude, there was people of every political stripe there. That's what it made me so happy. I was like, finally, there's a topic that all of New Mexicans can get behind that we all agree on. There was like bikers and hippies and hunters and like crazy conspiracy dudes and like little old ladies. Like all of us were there, and it felt incredible. Like I'm gonna be honest, that kind of unity is almost impossible to find now. And so, I guess at least in New Mexico, at that time, right now, things aren't really under attack as much, except, and it's a balancing act, right? Like, they're like, everybody in America is like, drill somewhere else. And I'm like, well, okay, yeah, but our oil has to come from somewhere. And like the Permian Basin is super rich in oil. And New Mexico has a ton of empty public land. So you're going to have to sacrifice some of it for production. The tax revenue is huge. And like, yeah, there's a bunch of evil that comes with corporate oil, sure. But it's like, dude, I drive a truck. You drive a car. Like, what like, it's not just going to magic. I don't know. It's complicated. It's complicated. This is a hound hunting podcast.
Well,
but
Vance made the comment about, parts of public land that were just being, take for instance, if you get on Onyx Maps and you look at, there's certain chunks of that public land that are little island pieces out here that are either landlocked by other property owners or whatever. New Mexico's terrible about it. I mean,
it is terrible.
It's really, so what's the point of our government holding on to that piece of property that could be used for the betterment of all society rather than having it sitting dormant out here in the middle of a ranch? And the only people that really get to use it are the people that own that ranch because you can't access it any other way.
I'm a staunch believer in what you already said. Once you lose it, you never get it back.
Mm-hmm.
And so
But I do think that you can. So if federal lands, if there's all this wealth on them or under them, and I think it's naive to think that people are just going to choose to like forget about that money and just let them be wild. So I think that you can open them up to like controlled grazing,
That's
controlled
already the case everywhere. Yeah.
drilling, controlled cutting timber.
Luckily, most of our federal lands are useless, truly. There's no mineral wealth to be found in any of them. There's no oil. It's in very historically poor lands. And where the most mineral wealth underground is in New Mexico, it's already state land, which is not public land. That really surprises people when I say that. Like, it's not. State land is owned by New Mexico, and it's almost exclusively used for extraction or grazing. And so, like, you can only hunt on it through the state trust program. But federal lands typically are these lands that aren't really that useful for other aspects, and it's really complicated, and it depends on what resources available, the overall economic overarching uses of it, communities that are going to be affected by it, either through downwind exposure, downstream exposure, watershed exposure, cultural exposure. Like, man, to me, the desert is a sacred place. Like, I mean, that's just the way it
Sure.
is. And so I don't want to see it rampaged for something that I'd find utterly useless, you know, and
Yeah.
it's just the way it is. Like, people are going to stand up for things that they view extremely highly. And, you know, some people find the desert to be like completely useless wasteland, and others don't. And in some places it totally is. And,
Well,
it can
when
be
you're out
used,
there,
but
when you're out on the desert, yeah, Robert Balzer, founder.
yep, I'm reading that.
Put-
Here we go. Yep. I
Here
just
we
read
go.
that.
Prop 2 is 67.34 with 87% reporting. So that's going to be a huge win for them. I'm really, that's cool. Win
Okay,
for
so, yeah,
hunting right there.
So it's gonna pass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet.
At first, I was thinking Colorado, and I was like, oh damn.
Yep. Yep, that's a good one. Thanks, Robert. I'm glad where'd you find that at? If you're listening in there, Robert, tell me where you found it so I can keep track of it too. I was having a heck of a time finding that.
You know, I mean, the thing is, if it passed in California, it's gonna pass. You can pass it anywhere in the United States. You know, for real. Like, it shouldn't be
Yeah.
a real hard. And like I said, for anybody out there, if your state doesn't have that, and you're in a dog hunters or any kind of association like that, and you've got any kind of power or connections, you should, you know, next legislative session, go to some senators, you know, in your state that you have a good relationship with, and print out, you know, go look at some of the states and actually print out their wording and find the one that you like the most, and hand it to them and say, let's do this here. It's pretty easy to do, I think, as far as getting it passed. Like I say, if California can do it, we can do it anywhere.
Well, the thing that I like about it is it kind of takes the wind. It defeats HSUS's ability. You know, Wayne Pacell said he's going to go town by town, state by state, until all hunting is abolished. And when you get stuff like this passing, it's like,
Puts up a road-
not
yeah.
not today, Wayne.
Yeah, it throws up a roadblock.
Yeah. AP's reporting it according to Robert.
Sweet. Yeah, the results should be up in like 5 minutes for Prop 127. That's kind of looking at now.
That's going to be a big one.
We need to
Yeah, I
have
guess long
Robert on
story
here.
short-
He needs to be Robert needs to be our guy behind the scenes, is finding all this
I know.
technical data for us. I was looking
These
for a guy
sighthound
like
hunters
that
are so
tonight.
smart. I love it.
They're always looking at stuff.
You know, you got to be careful too, because they are also called gaze hounds, so that could be a problem. Vote blue, boys. Like, oh, shit. Uh-oh.
Yeah, we know how y'all are voting.
The thing I was going to ask you, Seth, is I think that's kind of what people get confused about, because if you drive from, where's White Sands, New Mexico?
It's like 30 minutes over here to the east of me.
Yeah. What's the name of that town on the other side of it, on the east side of
Alamogordo.
it?
Alamogordo.
What is it?
Alamogordo.
Yeah. when you drive across that stretch of road, you look around and you're like, what the hell? Who would live out here? You know, type thing. I
I'm
mean, it does.
home.
It's yeah. That's you.
That's my
But
backyard, dude. Like,
it's like an area where people drive through it to get to the other side. You know what I mean?
no.
From yeah, you don't.
No, I don't.
When you're out there,
Beautiful.
when people start talking about giving up public land, and it's always the politicians. They're always like, well, look at this area here. You know, there's nothing here. But that's where you hunt. That's your home.
That's where I live. Yeah.
Yeah. There's jackrabbits there. There's a whole ecosystem there. How often do you see quail and game birds when you're out chasing?
All the time. Yeah.
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 So there is something there.
Oh, dude,
You
the
can't
desert's
just be
so
so
rich
wi-
in life. Don't even get me started. But
Yeah. You can't be so willy-nilly about
yeah.
the whole thing.
And this is what I tell anyone: like, go travel to. And I'm not bashing my peeps just from the traveling I've done, but like, go to Texas if you want to experience what privatization is like, and go east. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to live in a world that's controlled by somebody every inch and not free for the public to go out, that's your land. That's Ed's land. That's my land. That's all of our land to go out there for free and experience true wild solitude.
I've been giving everybody the wrong number on the Arizona prop. It's prop 134. I've been saying one. I don't know where I got 127.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Chris,
I'm quitting
late,
right
that's
now.
it.
I'm just
quitting.
gonna get off here.
yeah, Houndsman XP, I'm done.
It's probably going to fail now.
Yeah, they're not showing anything on the results. Showing 1% reporting on. Arizona needs to get their crap together on elections. I can tell you that.
Well, I mean, it's still early there, right?
What time is it in Arizona right now, Seth?
Oh, they're done. They don't do the daylights. Oh, it's hi, that's a good question. I think they're in Mountain or Pacific, but I think it's 7:57 there right now. Let's look.
Okay.
We have this amazing power of the internet. Time
Googler.
in Phoenix. 6:57, same time. They're in Mountain Time.
6:57.
Yep, cool.
Yep.
Once
So we
again,
got 3
Robert
minutes.
chimed in.
Look, Robert's already figured it out.
He
he's-
beat you.
Oh yeah.
Robert, keep it real, brother. You want a Sighthound correspondent job at Houndsman XP?
We need somebody.
Robert's fact checking us.
Yeah, that's right. He's our fact checker.
Tell
You
me
should
your
have
name
fact-checked-
and the reasons you can take my job. Just kidding.
He should have been fact checking me on that prop 134. I
Oh,
got it
yeah,
right somewhere.
He dropped
Uh,
the ball on that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I've been
No, he
calling
did.
120. Oh
Both
yeah.
of you did.
Yeah.
Both of you did. I'm just.
We
I'm
both dropped the ball,
highly
Robert.
disappointed in both of you guys.
Ed, if you weren't disappointed in me, I think something's wrong.
Not you. No, you didn't have anything to do with that.
Oh, no,
Seth.
true.
That
I
was-
just assumed it was me.
Yeah, no. That was Chris and Robert.
Yeah, they're not expecting a lot of these results to start coming in from Arizona until 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah. I mean, even Prop 127, I don't think we're going to see the answer for a minute. It's gonna be a while.
127. Let's get it all lined out. 127 is Colorado.
Yep.
That's
134
that's the mountain
Arizona.
lion band.
Yep. Arizona is 134, and Florida is Prop 3.
2.
2. There you go. Prop 2. Which that's going to pass. Prop
Yeah.
2 is going to pass.
Looks like a done deal.
So it's calling Colorado's prop, Arizona's prop.
Notes. You got to take notes.
Have you been
This
getting
is
to
how-
hog hunt? Have you been getting to hunt any at all, Ed?
No.
Ah,
No,
Has it been too hot or what?
It's been terrible. No. Just life. I've been starting a coon dog.
How's that
I didn't
going?
know you
We
coon
haven't got
hunted.
a coon dog update for a while.
yeah, I didn't
Well,
know
I
you
ain't done
could
a whole
hunt it.
lot. She was in heat. She just came out of heat a couple weeks ago, so I lost about a month. It's just been life, you know.
Yeah, I've been
What's your
super
thoughts
busy.
on? I saw an interesting question, and it's something I don't know that we've ever talked about really. But a guy picked up a dog and it's timid, and he was trying to trying to find out how to overcome shyness or a dog being timid.
Well, it's an uphill battle. You know, it's not one you can always win. Like
Do you waste your time on a timid dog?
well, it depends. Like if I see something else in the dog that, it depends on the dog. So if I see something there where I think it's worth giving it a shot, I'll do it. I'll tell you the best way that the most success I've had is, it sounds a little bit cruel. It's not, but there'll be some people who think it is. So like I'll withhold water. Like my dogs are in kennel, so I'll withhold water from that dog. I'm not talking like days, you know, just like
Mm-hmm.
in the morning before I go to work, I'll dump their water out, and then I'll come home 6 hours later or so. I mean, I'm not going to do this in the middle of summer,
You
but
don't tie him out on a short piece of chain in the direct sunlight and not give him water.
no, I wouldn't
Oh,
advise on that. But in July, no, I wouldn't advise that. But so I'll withhold a little bit of water, and then I'll go out and water them, and I'll take me a chair and just like sit in their kennel next to the water. Like I won't look at the dog, I won't try to pet it. I'll just like sit there,
mm-hmm.
and then eventually, most of them will come up and get a drink of water. And then I'll try to like, I won't push it, but like if I think they might be receptive, I'll try to just get a hand on them. But I mean, I had one dog that was timid like that, and I bet you I spent over the course of a couple weeks, I bet I spent 40 or 50 hours sitting in a chair in that dog's kennel.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to the point, I mean, it was never turned into like a super, you know, human loving dog, but it got to the point where I could handle it. It wasn't afraid of me. If I kept everything calm, like didn't raise my voice, you know. But I mean, it's an uphill battle. Like
How was she?
unless
How was that dog around strangers?
timid,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't mind. Like I kind of like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to worry about anybody stealing them. Sometimes you can. It'll suck because they won't hunt good around other people. Like I've had dogs that were like that, and like I would have to tell everybody like, "You guys stay in the truck. I'm gonna go cast this dog. Then after it gets out of here, then you guys can come out of the truck and cast the rest of the dogs." But like I say, I won't mess with one unless I just see something or think that it has potential to be above average in some other aspect. Because it's hardwired into them. Like you can work past it a little bit, but it's hardwired in there.
I found that hunting spooks makes them way easier to handle. I mean, they're meeting you at the gate once they realize it's time to go hunting. I've seen dogs that are extremely shy, and just like you said, Ed, they're never going to be a golden retriever jumping in your lap, but you can easily get them, put a handle on them, and they definitely want you to grab them so that they can go hunting. At
Yeah,
least
if they
that's
have
been my
that strong.
experience.
Yeah, if they have that strong hunting desire.
Yeah, well, if they don't, they're not going to be in my yard anyway. So
A lot
yeah,
of the shy dogs do have a high drive.
yeah, all the ones I've seen so far have, yeah, and they're not afraid to go out and hunt. Which I mean, my dogs are like essentially lap dogs, and they definitely will stick it to a 5 minute rabbit. But um, yeah, I've seen really shy dogs that like you have to go to the end of their pen and grab them, and after you take them out a couple times, a couple rabbits get up in front of them, they're meeting you at the gate, and they're a
Yeah.
lot easier to handle. Yep.
I had a dog for years. She lived to be about 10, which is in hog dog world like 100. But I had her whole life, and she just did not. I mean, she didn't like to be petted. She just didn't give two shits about any human being. And even at the end of her life, like to load her, like I couldn't catch her to load her when we was done hunting. You just had to open a dog box door and then go sit in the truck. And if she was done hunting, because she would just kind of skirt out if you was trying to catch her. But if she was done hunting, it was late, she was tired, you could just open a dog box door and then get back in the truck, and then she'd load herself, and then you could get out and shut the door. But I had her for 10 years. I couldn't catch her at the end of the night. But she was a good, independent, long range dog. She wasn't afraid to get away from you.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if you can do the same thing with mules. And you're right. People think it's cruel if you ever withhold anything from your dogs or your kids. You're some kind of monster. But tie a mule out, tie him to a post, and you're their lifeline at that point, and they become dependent on you. But hand feeding, like when I bring a dog home, the only time they eat is I'll put their ration in a dish or whatever, and I'll just stand there and just let them eat right out of my hand. That'll turn a dog around on you pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, food and water is our best.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when you do most of your training. I think that's when you do most of your trainings at feeding time.
Well, that's where Heath. They need food, water, and air. And those three things, and you can control different
Two of
parts
them.
in the right way, and have amazing results.
And good genetics.
Yeah, I mean, and that's so like in hog dogs. I don't know if you guys deal with it. Shyness is a big problem when you get guys that are line breeding really tight for a long time. Not even necessarily that long, but tight line breeding. One of the main character flaws that seems to pop out in hog dogs is timidness.
It's really bad in sighthounds too. It's like really bad, especially in Salukis. So they're actively breeding away from that. And some of the people that put effort and time into breeding for good temperaments, it shows. And you can find great hunting dogs that are also not spooks. You just got to be more selective. But that's part of improving a line of dogs, I think. I'm a believer. At first, I didn't really thought I'd care, but I got 3 Salukis that are like freaking Labradors, and then they can go out and murder a tough one. So it makes a big difference in my opinion. It's huge, but some people don't really mind.
Well, that comes to the next part of it. The guy that was asking this, I was like, okay, say you get them out over it, and they're jam up. Is it enough of a deal where you would have them spayed or neutered, or would you even
No.
consider them
I'm
for?
not saying I'm not going that far. I'm saying if you have 2 really good ones that one is a shy dog and one is a really friendly dog, I'm going to choose the friendly one over the shy one any day.
Mhm.
And if one is, say the shy one is like a superstar, just unbelievable, and the really tame one is like just good, like really good, but not just a world beater. I mean, yeah, no. I'm still gonna go with a really good one and then try to pick the tamer puppies. Yeah.
I think you have to look at it a little bit deeper because there's timid dogs that are timid from breeding, and then there's timid dogs that are timid from a lack of socialization.
Yeah, I'm talking nature versus nurture, definitely. And nature,
Okay.
not nurture. There's just
Yeah, so I
lions
mean,
that are shy.
if I had a really timid dog that I suspected was timid because they weren't socialized early on,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a great dog, sure, I'm going to breed that dog.
Yeah.
But if I think it's from the breeding, then probably not.
My 2 first dogs I got, Pronto and Calypso, were very shy, but they came out of it quick with good socialization. So I was like, it's not in their blood really. It's just they just weren't socialized a lot as puppies, and now he's like on my couch and jumped in my wife's arms. She just got home. So it's like, it's just how, training them and stuff, socialization, like you just said. Yep. And
How do you tell the difference? How? I mean, what do you
I think it's both. I think it's always complex. It's both, right? I mean, I think dogs that are shy from young adult, like young puppyhood, they're just naturally shy. And those dogs are going to be more likely, because there's some puppies that it does not matter. You come up to the pen, they're meeting you at the gate to like be played with, right? Dogs that are just like naturally shy, you can feel it out. You can see it and I think it's both, right? Those dogs are going to be socialized less because they don't want to be socialized as much. And if they're living in a low stimulation human environment, then it's going to compound rapidly, I feel. I don't know if you ever can tell because they can't talk to you, but you can definitely get a feel for it when they're little guys in the pen.
Well, I mean, if you've got a litter of pups that you bred, and you're going out there every day and spending a little bit of time with them at feeding time and petting them and talking to them, and you're getting a couple that are still, despite that interaction, are still on the shy side, then that's
that's what,
nature, you know.
Mm-hmm.
they're just naturally shyer animal. Yeah,
Yeah.
But if you're picking up a dog down the road, you know,
you have no idea.
you don't know.
I mean, you have a pretty good idea. I mean, if you do your homework, you got a pretty good idea. I mean, you can kind of tell when some puppies, you go to look at some puppies and you're like, yeah, this dude is not, you know, spent any time with these things.
So we have 5% voting right now. We have 5% reporting right now for Colorado Prop 127, which is the mountain lion and bobcat and lynx hunting ban in Colorado. And right now, as we're standing with 5% reporting, we have a 56.4% vote for yes and a 43.6% for no.
Ooh. And
So,
yes is
right
for
now-
the ban.
Yes,
Right.
correct.
Yes.
So
And
that's
what was
only
the numbers again?
5%.
What were the percentages?
It was 56.4 for yes, 43.6 for no. So 106,000 votes for yes, 82,000 roughly, 82,000 votes for no.
Do you
So
know what counties those votes are coming
I'm
from?
going to show more now.
Man, I'm showing a little more drastic numbers than that.
Worse?
Right now it's 107,000. It's what'd you say? I've got 50. It's not more drastic. I'm sorry. 56% for, 43% against.
Yes.
Is that what you got?
Yes, 56.4 for yes and 43.6 for no.
Yep.
It just depends. I mean, typically the urban areas report quicker than the rural areas. So
Right. And this is
I
only
wouldn't put-
5% reporting here, so we still have a humongous amount to go.
yeah,
Mhm.
anybody that's in Colorado and hasn't voted, when do their polls close?
I think
Or
they
have they
just
already?
did. Yeah,
They
I think
already
they just
closed?
did. Yep, it's 7.
At 7. Yeah, that's rough. But with 5%, you can't make.
Yeah,
Doesn't look
no,
good, but you
I'm
can't.
not even. My heart's not even beaten yet. Definitely, the urban areas are going to be counted first. They have a lot more poll workers, and they have a lot more people voting.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
So there's an interactive map that you can look at. It's almost a dead heat in I don't even know how to Saguache County. It's 40. It's ahead. No, it's being put down. 55% against, 44% for. But there's only about 300 votes separating them right now. It looks like their results are in and reporting.
Well, on the national presidential, Trump is up 160 electorates to Kamala's 30.
I'm showing 137 Trump, 99 Harris right now. I'm just using
Really?
Google. Yeah, I'm just using Google right now. So I don't know
Well, that's-
what they're aggregating from. Oh, from the AP. So there you go.
Fox is posting 178 Trump, 113 Harris.
Huh.
Dang.
Was
Yeah,
NBC
AP
still-
is way behind them then because they just updated it a minute ago.
NBC is way behind them. They got Kamala at 30, Trump at 160.
Oh wow. Yeah.
But Wisconsin. Well, shit, I don't remember now. I can't remember what state it was. One of the
I think
swing
it's
states
crazy
here.
that it's even close in Texas, to be honest with you.
Man, Texas has had such an influx of people from California. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, people flee a liberal state and go to a hick state and then want to change it into what they just ran from.
Yeah, that's what that's what we're fighting right now, actually. Yeah, here. Luckily, most of them are going to Montana and Texas, though. They're not coming to dirty New Mexico. Taos and Santa Fe can only take so many of them. Thank goodness. Then they go out. They go out of those towns and they realize New Mexico's like a meth-filled dump, and they're like, "Oh my god." And this is coming from an avid, like total New Mexico lover to my very core. My bones will rot in this desert. Like, but
You're not even going to get buried, are you?
I don't want to, but I got it checked out. You can't. You only can have your corpse thrown out on private land. So like, I don't know. Like I feel like that violates the spirit of what I love about New Mexico too. And plus, who's gonna dump me? Like my wife probably won't want to throw. Maybe she will want to throw me out in the desert after a lot amount of time. She might. But yeah, I was hoping that like like a hares would like make a form in my ribs. Maybe have a litter in there. That'd be cool. Like yeah, that'd be sweet. That'd be really cool, actually.
You're gonna have kangaroo rats in your eye crawling
That'd
out
be
of
the
your eye
best, dude.
sockets.
Oh, can you imagine how cute it'd be? Their little hands in my eye sockets. Oh god, that'd be the
Cute.
best.
Yeah, that's the right word. Cute.
Oh, it'd be the best. I'd love it. Maybe my corpse would feed a coyotes through the winter. That'd be great. Just fantastic.
Oh, Seth, you're one of a kind, man.
When we went hunting, Ed, we sat down with you and your buddy were being all super quiet, and I was like, "Hey, they don't talk much," and Chris was like, "I think they're just a little bewildered by you right now."
We were trying to figure out what language you were talking. It was mostly Latin.
Yeah.
Ed, please don't make people think I'm smart. I'm not, dude. Like,
You're pretty good at Latin.
I'm only good at a very small amount, and I talk a lot, so it makes me seem smarter than I am. Let's see.
You were rattling off like the Latin names for animals and vegetation, and you were still talking, and Cody like whispered in my ear, and he goes, "What the hell is he talking about?"
Yeah, it's because you guys were in my backyard. If it was anywhere else, I'd have been a little less chatty, I think. No, probably not. But I think I'm going to be hosting some of the Canada guys here this winter. Actually, I'm really looking forward to it. Some of the great hunters I go up there with Freedom Hunters every summer.
What's those guys' names?
So Lloyd Hooper.
Yeah.
And he's the guy I spend the most time with. He's the main hound hunter. And then another guy named Gavin. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name because I'm going to butcher it. He's the one who's going to come down here. I think he's going to come down for 14 days. He was like, just take me and let's do everything you like to do. And I was like, there is so much to do. So yeah, it's going to be awesome. So much to do.
I'm ready to come out. Once I get
You've been saying that for 5 years.
You're ready
Dude,
to come out.
I've tried.
You better not come out, Chris.
No, Chris, you can come out. It's 2024, buddy. You'll be a hero. You'll be a hero. Cheers.
A hero to all the houndsmen.
What? There was a guy. I got to keep this super vague, but there was a person who came
we
out.
want specifics.
This is raw dog, man. Look at the top, uncensored, unedited, unapologetic.
All right, yeah, here we go. Then, all right, here we go. It doesn't matter, but there was a person who works in a unit that's adjacent to mine, and their like research headquarters is in UC Berkeley, and they came out as trans. And like one of the people at my work was like, they're a hero. And I was like, dude, this person came out as trans in UC Berkeley. It's not like he came out in trans in like rural Montana. You know what I mean? Like
Western Texas.
Exactly.
Yeah, like Ed's front
Pegs,
door. You know what
Pegs,
I mean?
Oklahoma.
He's not a hero. Like, what are you talking about? And I just, of course, I got glared at by some and laughed at by others. But yeah, that's life, you know. But I just was like, dude, that fool's not a hero at all. Like,
Yeah, it's like one of the most safest places on the planet.
I was like, if he would have came out with trans in like Zimbabwe, then,
Indiana,
yeah, he's a hero.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I'm like, it would be dangerous at UC Berkeley to not come out as trans.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't even.
Yeah, you want to show me bravery? Come out as a trainee in Kabul, Afghanistan.
Yeah, UC Berkeley, you don't even come out as trans. You come out as straight.
I know. I was gonna say, me being a cis white male, I'm a hero. When I was in Seattle, we were there for obviously not this reason, but I saw a pro-Palestine rally, and just because I'm an ass, I just wanted to run through there and just be like, MAGA! Just like running through there screaming MAGA. Like, I don't know. That was the first thing that popped into my head. Obviously, I didn't do that because I'd probably gotten, I don't know if beat's the right word. I don't know
No,
if that's like a
you would not have
microaggression or not, but
You wouldn't have
I
got
mean, they
beat.
would have done something to me. Probably glared at me angrily, but I don't know.
They'd have shamed you.
It's very hard to do, Ed. Look at me. Like, talking about animals reproducing inside my corpse. Like, it's pretty hard to shame me, dude.
I gotta tell you, Seth. NBC just threw up New Mexico, and Kamala's got Trump by 3 points.
Oh yeah, she's gonna win here for sure.
You think?
Yeah,
Is
absolutely.
she going to win? Kamala's going to win New Mexico, you think?
Yeah, definitely. The urban centers, dude. 1 in 4, dude. 2 in 4 New Mexicans live in Santa Fe, Albuquerque, Rio Rancho. That's why. That's how. The Rio Grande Valley super blue, and then the rest of New Mexico is like deep red. And dude, Chavez County, which is like far eastern New Mexico, is like one of the reddest, and Catron County are one of the reddest counties in America. I think that really blows people's mind. Catron County, which is like the far western part of the Gila, was like 98% Trump in 2020, which is insane. Like, that is just like, you want to go live somewhere where you have ally with other people that like want to live the life you want to live. Like, those are the places you go. Or you go to UC Berkeley, you know what I mean? Or like whatever, but, or like New York or something, but yeah, or Seattle. I will say I went to Portland and I went there with some locals and I was like, I've never been to a city like this on the West Coast. And I was like, hey, I want you to just show me around. Don't give me any opinions or any of that bullshit. I just want to go around and I'll make my own opinion, but show me everything. And so I went downtown and there was just like homeless people everywhere. And I'm from rural New Mexico. I've never really seen many homeless people. And that was the first time I've ever seen another person poop. Yeah, there was a homeless guy that like pooped right in front of me. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
it was
but Seth,
horrible.
in New Mexico, you guys had one of the first homeless people.
Yeah, I know. And a legend
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah,
But
Mr.
he's
Ben
like,
Lilly.
that's a different kind of I don't know, like,
He
I
was
guess-
homeless.
and then I went to Uptown Portland and it was like not at all like downtown, which was like it was like I was in some kind of crazy, I don't know, it was disgusting. Anyway, I went to Uptown and I went to a all-in-one store. It was a magic mushroom, exotic taxidermy, and vintage porno shop, all in one building.
Yeah,
And I
you
was
can
like-
only do that there.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, this is kind of rad. Like, at least you're like experiencing something you're never gonna get anywhere else. You know what I mean?
All
Like,
right, you
that
guys
was
want
cool.
a Colorado update?
Yep, let's hear it.
Yeah. Here.
All right, Colorado update right now with 24 out of 64. I don't even know what that means. Anyway, it's is pulling ahead.
No, it was pulling
It's
ahead, guys, by a substantial margin.
54%.227. 4 is 45.73. The counties surrounding Denver and Aurora, the Denver Metroplex there, of course, have gone over. Let's see. Hey, it's not that
It's not.
far ahead. No. So actually,
A lot of Denver people
they're
were like,
only
no.
they're on the Denver area right now. The stat I'm looking at, they're only 1 percentage point ahead
Yeah.
for Prop 127.
How
So
many-
that
what perc-
that is amazing right there.
No is racing ahead, guys. This is great. 22% reporting with no pulling almost a 10-point lead, which is very large.
What is it?
Robert just put up 21%, and it was 54 now.
Yeah, 21% reporting, 54% no
Awesome.
against.
Robert,
Okay,
our
yeah.
field reporter.
Yes.
Yeah, 54 no. I was thinking 54 yes. Yeah. It's confusing.
Check this
Yep.
out. I'm going to show this one. This is cool. That is so awesome. Cheston, I would have paid to see that. That must have been super fun. I didn't even know you would have sighthounds in a place where you have swamp rabbits, so that's really cool. That's super rad.
Yeah.
What kind of sight hounds
He's got to be running like a big stag hound cross,
Or like
right?
a whippet, I would assume.
Maybe.
Probably not whippet. Probably stag.
What you got? What you got there, Cheston? Let us know.
I only
we're in
say
a heated
whippet
debate.
because their like explosive speed can get something caught before it gets to the thicket. Like I've seen people use them with beagles in the east.
It depends
But
on
if
where
it-
he's at.
Yeah.
It's like I had a full blood stag hound that I used as a catch dog. But mainly used her for like whenever we beta sounder pigs, and the bulldogs would catch one or two and they'd bust out. If it was open enough country, I'd throw her in there. She wasn't one of the real big stag hounds.
You guys take this for a second. I'm gonna go over here. I see my wife just staggering around in like a hypoglycemic shock. I'm gonna see if she found her food I made for her before she got home. Ooh,
Okay.
stag hot blood cross. Look at that. You called it.
Dogo
Dakota.
stag.
Dogo stag.
I'll be right there, boys.
Dogo stag and a stag hot blood cross with a touch of Catahoula. That's quite the. I've never seen Dogo stag. There was a time there, maybe 6, 7 years ago when people were breeding, crossing bulldog, like pit bulls with stags. And some of them were pretty good looking specimens.
I'm gonna share the screen right now so we can get a. I'm gonna try this out. See how this works.
Do it. Pennsylvania's not looking good for Trump.
It's not.
It's 56-42. That's 14 points.
What are you seeing on your end here? You
Your
seeing any
screen's-
change?
No, your screen's not shared.
What is going on here? Okay, let me pull this up.
Oh, we got kind of a.
Yeah, it's weird. Just hang in there.
Got like an infinity loop going.
Yeah, let me try to get out of here and. All right, pull this up over here. All right, official results. Can you see that?
Yeah.
All right, so this is what the map looks like right now. All the red counties have voted no on Prop 127.
What is where's Denver in that?
Denver is right here, the green, right here in the center.
That little strip.
Yep, this is Aurora. This is a Denver. So, quite a bit of difference there.
But it's not like a blowout.
No. And then here's the one that's really tight, which is Aurora, Colorado. Look how close that is.
Yeah, I'd say that's not
1,300 votes. Huh?
I'd say it's gonna not pass if it's that close in those two
I agree.
urban centers.
Yep. Colorado is going to survive, I believe.
Yeah, they need a blowout in those two counties to.
Right now, it's a blowout. I mean, 45% is reporting for, 54% against. That is really, really.
And what is
great
crazy?
news.
What is crazy is that you got these two counties right here, Denver and what was it, Aurora?
Well, that's Denver County and Arapahoe County.
Yeah, but I mean they're not even affected by what they're voting on. It's all these
Not
people
at all.
around them that are affected by it.
Yep.
That's what I mean.
100%.
When you get these urban centers that vote on something that doesn't even have anything to do with them, for the most part.
Look at that. Washington County, 84% against.
And that's people
Look at that.
That's people that understand the issue.
Yeah, because they're living it. They're living
Yeah.
with it.
The people in Denver are never going to have to. I mean, I shouldn't say never, but right now they're not going to have to deal with mountain lions killing their pets or their livestock.
Jackson County is 90% against.
90%.
Yeah, Jackson County right here is 90% against. That
Once
one's a
again.
little bit tighter. That's down towards, I'm not sure which county Durango's in, but it's still against.
Once again, I mean, we're talking urban versus rural.
Yep,
That's what politics are coming down to.
you're right.
And, I mean, really get down to it. That's what the Civil War was, you know,
It absolutely was. You're exactly
that's what
right.
it was about. The South was almost solely agriculture
Right.
or rural, and the North was urban.
Yep. We'll keep an eye on that Colorado deal. Because I think,
Just my gut feeling, I'd say Colorado's going to be good.
well, when you look at when you look at that daggone, when you look at it, man, it's all there. You know.
So what? So to play like devil's advocate on that. So you put a lot of effort and money. A lot of people did into
Mm-hmm.
that. So if it fails, which I think it probably will, they can just do it, in 2 years, and you'll have to win again. And
Do
and
it
in
again.
what's that?
Do it. You're saying doing it again?
I mean, they can bring it up again, and then 2 years from now, when you and other people try to, get everybody fired up about it and get active and, donate money and effort, people are like, they already tried it once. You get what I'm saying? So there won't be as much enthusiasm on the anti side
I
if they
agree.
try
Well,
it
you
again.
think about it. You think about what they've tried to do in Colorado. They tried to come at it first through the Fish and Wildlife Commission, and it got defeated. Then 2 years ago, they tried to come at it with a Senate bill, and that died in committee. They couldn't get it done there. So now they tried the last ditch effort
To put it to the people.
was to put it to the people where they thought it was going to be a slam dunk, and they're getting beat right now with the two counties reporting the results that they were depending on to carry the day for them. So I think we did it, man. I might just break out a bottle of Ledged Out.
I wouldn't break it out right now.
Not yet.
Not
Not yet.
not yet, but I'd say it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
You could probably uncork it, but I wouldn't pour it yet.
I'm not even going to take I'm not even going to take the wrapper off of it until unseal it until.
Done deal.
Yep.
You don't want to
Yep.
pull a 2016 Hillary on it.
Right. Robert, I'm gonna call you out on this one, buddy. He says there won't be as high voter turnout without the federal election. No, but the meetings I've sat in, they were actually scared of the voter turnout for this because of the Colorado always going blue. You're always going to voting for the Democrat side. So that was one of the things that was factored in the strategic planning was how do we overcome that blue wave that always comes in Colorado.
Well, I
And
mean, I think I agree. I get what Robert's saying. I think so. If you do it in a midterm election, you're just going to get the people that are hardcore about the issue.
right.
They
But
probably
you got to look
They
at
probably
you got
strategically did it on a presidential election.
yeah. But they've also got to consider that hunters and shooters and fishermen are terrible about going to the polls. We don't get as ramped up, and what we've seen with this issue is we've seen an outstanding media campaign by Dan Gates and CRWM and bringing this coalition of hunters together to support this thing with RMEF and Safari Club International, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, well, RMEF, uh, Wild Sheep Foundation, trappers, houndsmen. We've all come together behind this issue and said, this is where we're drawing our line in the sand. You don't get to cross it anymore. They really don't have. I don't think they will be able to fight it again in 2 years unless there's a major swing in, commissioners and things like that, which I suspect that's what Jared Polis is really going to push for. The
They'll
next
probably drop.
couple
They'll probably
years.
drop. They would probably drop the issue, I would think.
I think they will, and I that's why there was somebody from New Mexico that I was trying to have this conversation with, and he said we're not a ballot initiative state, so they've got to go through the Fish and Wildlife Commission. Well, the Fish and Wildlife Commission in New Mexico, a lot of those people have been appointed by a liberal governor.
Yep.
So that's the lowest threshold. If you can, it's a lot easier to influence, however many numbers of commissioners you've got, 9, 12, whatever it is, than it is it takes a lot of money to run this campaign. I mean, a ton of money.
Yeah, I mean, they're not dummies. They're not dummies. And this is coming, I would imagine, I'm not that totally up to date on what's going on in Colorado, but just from what I've seen in the past, I would imagine that most of this is coming from out of state. And if this is
they chose Colorado because they thought it was a slam dunk state. They thought everything was lined up. They had a governor, they had the commissioners, everything that they did on this thing was strategic, and they thought it was going to be a slam dunk, and that's why they chose Colorado. And if like I've said before, man, tomorrow morning after this thing gets put down, I didn't want to just win by a point or two. I wanted to make a statement. I wanted to smash them. So tomorrow morning, they're all sitting around their boardroom with their mushroom coffees and their chocolate sandals and
don't be talking about Seth like that.
And just crying and they're crying.
If you're drinking mushroom
Starbucks
coffee, you do never mix up your mushrooms and caffeine. That's not a good combo, dude.
No, I mean, so what I was saying is that this is the third time they've lost on 3 different platforms. They're not stupid about it. Like, they will move their efforts to another state and another issue. I would.
But New Mexico's on the brink. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it is. It is.
They're right there. That's everything that I've heard the last year is New Mexico's next. But what we have done is been able to. We've got an example now. We've got. It can work. When this thing first started popping off back in October of last year, and we started pursuing this thing, Dan Gates made his first appearance on any podcast, on the Houndsman XP podcast. And as soon as I posted that up, people were like, "Oh, it'll pass." Colorado's too blue. California or Colorado's the new California. Blah 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 blah. It's like, well, get out of here, you loser. I don't sit around with quitters. I'm not talking to you. We're gonna win.
Yeah.
And I don't just want to win. I want to make a statement. Okay, so right now, I don't know what the percentage is of this, but we're up 11 points in Colorado right now.
Yep. I got 31% reporting, and I got 11-point lead for no, guys. That's big. That's really big.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'll be a good thing if they win big. It'll take the wind out of their sails.
And a double-digit win is a huge win.
Oh,
huge.
yeah. Huge.
The Wolf Initiative passed with less than 1%.
Whoa.
So
this is a resounding no. Yeah.
This is going to, yeah.
Which is good. I mean, because, not just for Colorado, because something like that passes in Colorado and it just opens up it opens up all kind of other avenues in other states. It needed to
Yep.
be defeated. It's not done yet.
Resoundingly.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
needs to be defeated. And that was kind of what you were always talking about was, even people that aren't in Colorado, like, we need to get behind it, donate money, donate efforts, talk to people if we know people in Colorado, and beat it because it would ripple out from Colorado
Yes,
if it were to pass.
I couldn't agree more.
Trump
Yeah, I
just
know.
Trump
This,
just about has the Confederacy locked down.
uh, yeah, yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kinda,
it was a sorry, Ed, I didn't mean to cut you off, buddy. I was
You
making
didn't.
a stupid joke and then tangenting, but I was gonna say too, Chris, when we were still talking about 127 there, it's like there was a huge effort by a lot of people to make this, but Houndsman XP was super vocal about this, and I kind of wanted to take the time, especially this is your like passion, this is the things you live for, and so I kind of wanted to just like give you kind of a mic and just kind of talk about what Houndsman XP has done for this initiative and how like we've been huge in the front lines for this. You break it
Yeah.
down. This is your thing.
toot your horn, Chris, because you had a
I
big
want him
part in
to.
it.
I think you're too humble to do it.
Well, I was fortunate. In 2023, I was out in Colorado. I was actually out on the Paloma, and I drove up to the CRWM, Coloradans for Responsible Wildlife Management event called Outdoorsman Days in Florence, Colorado. And I got introduced to Dan Gates. Before we got introduced, though, I was there with some of the United Houndsman guys, different leadership. They were still in the fight, and they were doing the best they could at the time. And I just talked to them. I was like, "What are you guys going to do next year if this thing becomes a ballot initiative?" We just defeated the Senate Bill 32 the year before. And I say I didn't even show up as a snowstorm. I was flying out there the year before to go out and participate in the public hearing out there on that. And then snowstorm hit Denver and I didn't go. But the next year I was out there in 2023 and I was talking to the UHC guys and I was like, what's your battle plan here? And no fault of their own. I mean, it's an overwhelming thing. I mean, you're looking at a mega giant here. The animal rights extremist movement is a gigantic. It's a David and Goliath type thing, and there really wasn't a whole lot of plan. And so I got introduced to Dan, and we started talking, and we kind of shared our own prophecies of what was going to happen in 24, and we started putting our heads together, and then when we saw it announced that they were going to go after this ballot initiative, then Dan and I ramped it up quite a bit in our communication and different things. So I just started looking for every opportunity we could. We called it the Battleground 2024, and we started last year in October and started getting the message out and on the airwaves of our podcasts, and I got invited to sit in on the strategic planning committee where millions of dollars was raised. Freedom Hunters, Anthony Pace is a lifelong resident of Colorado. He wanted to do a fundraiser. We raised $28,000 at that fundraiser. It was a sporting clays event, and who would think that a sporting clays event would draw people that wanted to support houndsman and lion hunting and bobcat hunting? Mm-hmm. And during the same time period, we did our first release of Ledged Out Bourbon, and we donated a chunk of that out there. We came up, Ed and I collaborated on that Join or Die sweatshirt and t-shirt and got that thing rolling, and we donated money from that. And the coup de grace, though, and this credit goes to the leadership of UHC, Naomi Hirsch and Justin Anglovich and Cody Lostro and too many people there to mention. But, they started getting on the ground and putting together this outstanding banquet, the first banquet they ever did. And they invited me to come out and MC it. And we ended up raising $80,000.
Yeah.
And
Dang.
so, when it's all said and done, you're talking about $116,000 that I was directly involved with raising for the fight against this proposition. And then you've got people like Dan Gates that were out there hustling. I mean, that guy, I couldn't even get him on the live last week because he was in the final stretches. I might have had better luck getting Donald Trump on a live a couple weeks ago than Dan Gates. That's how hard he was working.
That's good.
And you've got everybody. I mean, Todd Adkins from Sportsman's Alliance has been sitting in those meetings, and we've been having side meetings and trying to strategize what we're going to do if we lose, what are we going to do if we win, what are we going to do, how are we going to handle it. And so, but I don't want anybody to think that this fight's just beginning, man. It's going to continue to come. And what my takeaway is, and my hope is, that when this is all said and done, people realize that, yes, you can make a difference. But you can't make a difference getting on Facebook and sitting back and bitching and whining and complaining. You've got to organize. UHC didn't have any members. They've got a great membership now. We saw the Utah Houndsman Association coming over and supporting. When I was at this banquet, Buddy Woodbury from W came down from Washington to support the event. Eastern Idaho Houndsmen were there. You had representation from Wyoming Houndsmen, Utah Houndsmen. There was representation from New Mexico. So, yeah, don't tell me it can't work. It can work, and it did, and it is working right now.
Well,
I'm
I mean,
looking
what
at
it
our map
takes,
again.
what it takes is what you were talking about a second ago, where you got the sporting clay guys. That's what, and I think outdoorsmen are finally kind of coming around to that realization that we have to band together. Like, they can't break a sportsman up into these different categories. If they do that, they win. And I think people are getting wise to that.
How many times have we said we've got to break down the tribalism in our hound hunting community? What we've seen with this is we've seen it break down in the tribalism in the hunting community. It was masterfully put together, where you've got trappers and elk hunters and deer hunters. How many times have you seen, you can't do anything with those damn deer hunters. You can't ever talk to those guys. Well,
I mean, we even
we're
have
doing
tribalism within dog hunting.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You got to put that crap aside. You got to put the petty jealousy aside. One thing about competition coon hunters, and I give, walker breeders and walker dogs a hard time just because it's fun. But I've literally seen guys at a competition hunt that got in a fist fight over a call on a hunt, and the next week or 2 months later, those same two guys are getting together and making a cross on their dogs. The one guy had the female, they're breeding their dogs because it's like, at the end of the day, we just want to win.
I mean, what we have to get to is, so, like when you're a kid, like, you might fight with your brother to the death at home. But if you're at school and somebody else fights with your brother, you got his back. Like, that's what we need to incorporate as outdoorsmen. We can joke and prod each other, within our group. But when somebody attacks anybody from our family of outdoorsmen, like, we all need to step up and go to bat for them.
I told my kids when they went to school, I told my daughters, I said, I don't want to come to school for and get you out of the principal's office because one of you were fighting.
Better be
You
all
know,
of
you're.
it.
I said, if I come to school, there better be two of you sitting there in the principal's office because you both jumped in to help each other
Yeah.
out. And that's
I'm kind
just
of the presidential attache on this. Seth, you'll be proud to know that Trump is up in New Mexico by 1.5 points.
That is not going to hold. I'm already going to tell you that right now. Yeah. That's what
All right, here we go.
CNN calls the red mirage. Yeah.
I'm gonna put up the latest on Colorado 127. Can you guys see it?
Not yet.
Made
There
through
we go.
Roberts.
So that's our
Oh.
map reporting right now.
Oh man, that's too small for me to read.
There we
These
go.
are our
Make that big.
these are our results.
What is it? I can't read that.
Man, AP is on fire.
709,753 votes for, 875,463 against.
What's the percentage? 46 to
55 to 44. Yeah,
Yep.
it's
so
55
it's still
to
holding
45.
pretty. It's holding steady at 11.
Hold
Yeah.
that strong 10-point lead. Yep.
All these counties that are left to report, like that's Trinidad right there, that's going red. These counties down here, one of these counties down here may go green, but it's looking really, really, really good.
Let's just hope they can keep it in. It's not gonna pass. Let's hope
This
they
is
keep
what's
it.
so incredible. Is it like, look at that map. Go back up to that map, Chris. Go back up. Look at that.
Yeah.
It is just a classic example of this ballot box biology we've been talking about, where it is a sea of the majority of the land in that state are people that live outdoors and live in rural areas and live on the land. And you have these tiny enclaves of people that don't have a clue about what it's like to live out there trying to govern people that do. This is a problem. This is the problem.
I mean,
The people in this, go ahead, Ed.
to play devil's advocate, the left says people vote, land doesn't vote, and I get that. So I mean, it's a little bit deceiving. I mean, you're looking at population centers, you know.
This
course,
right here, Denver
But
County.
in this
I've got-
particular instance, the people in those population centers have no clue about
These
mountain
people-
lions or mountain lion
No,
hunting.
These
No, it
people
has no
living in
effect on
Denver County right here, they own 1/10 of an acre, if anything. The people that live in this county own 10,000 acres. And it's
Yeah.
they're directly affected by what these people are trying to tell these people what to do.
Yeah, this is
And
where I
so-
have a problem with this kind of stuff. Like,
So when
this
you
is
go
where-
back to and either Chris or Robert, I think Robert should get on it.
Yeah, me too.
Where do we have any update on Arizona's ballot initiative? Because Arizona's ballot initiative could have stopped us from even looking at this map of Colorado.
100%.
And that's the power behind what Arizona's trying to do.
Let's see if I can find anything on their Prop 2
yeah,
or 134.
And Robert says that initiative adds a 6.5% sales tax on firearms and ammo. I don't know what our percentage is in Oklahoma, but we passed that years ago, and outdoorsmen gladly pay it. So we pay anytime we buy something like from the outdoor section at Walmart, we pay a higher percentage of sales tax, but that sales tax goes straight to our wildlife department. Which
This
I'm
one
not a
in
huge-
Colorado is not going to.
Oh, it's not. It's just going into the general fund.
It'll go into general fund.
Well, that's not as good, but 6.5% tax, even if it doesn't go to the wildlife department, is still a worthy payment if it keeps big game hunting an option in Colorado. Be better if it went to the wildlife department.
Right.
Not that I'm a huge fan, but
Yes, you are.
I mean, I say that, but like in Oklahoma, we're blessed with like so much public hunting. and it's because of the wildlife department. Like they buy land all the time and open it up for everybody. So
Right. Yeah, I can't
can't-
find any results on 134. Seth, can you find anything?
I'm looking now.
Yeah. I'm
Robert, can
struggling.
you find anything?
Robert,
Yeah, I know, right?
Robert, please.
Nothing yet because their polls aren't. They're still doing their thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
The West. We're gonna be here all night for the Western. I mean, it's not gonna. It's no
Oh, yeah.
surprise where California, like the Western Seaboard, is all gonna be blue.
Yeah. Yeah. we don't
I
need
came
Steph
on
for
because
that.
I was I'm not gonna even worry about the presidential election until probably midday tomorrow.
I don't
But-
know. The way it's looking, it might wrap up tonight.
I don't think so.
It
But-
might.
Red always has a huge surge always in the beginning. So
Yeah,
I never
yeah.
really get excited until like 2 or 3 in the morning. They'll be
No,
counting
yeah.
ballots, but because all
You're
the states
100%.
that have gone red are always red. So yeah.
Well, you know,
I was surprised Kansas went blue.
no, it didn't.
It
It's not.
didn't?
It's leaning red.
No.
Oh, did it go
No.
red?
Yeah,
It's leaning
I
red.
must have
It's
seen
leaning
that.
red. It hasn't gone red yet.
It's very
but-
close.
So
It's
Okay.
very close.
that's one. So Kansas is one of those states we were talking about, I think, before we went live, me and Chris. But like, that's one of those states that the Democrats thought they had a chance of switching, and if they would have, it'd have been a game changer. But it doesn't. Right now, it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Okay. They thought they could flip it. I got
They
you.
thought they could.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Buy
it's-
more
yeah.
ammo, Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn. I know exactly where Glenn's talking about.
I know what he's. I
mean,
know
we
the
get-
idea of what he's saying.
We got some hunting land that I swear they won't fix the roads because they don't really want us out there. You're talking about Cherokee, Glenn, I'm sure. Them roads have been shit for 15 years, and they'll probably be another 15 years at least.
Ugh.
It's a small price to pay. I don't mind paying that extra, few percentage points.
You know, if it's that's exactly what the Pittman Robertson Fund did. You know, the Pittman Roberts PR money came up, the Wildlife Restoration Act came up, and hunters stepped up to the plate to the tune of $1.8 billion a year now. You know, and that's what aggravates me with things like Prop 127 and the media that goes around it. These anti-hunters come off acting like they care about wildlife. We care about it so much that we spend $1.8 billion a year just on management and stuff like that back to it. I guarantee HSUS only generates $212 million a year. PR money generates. That's just a percentage of what hunters spend keeping our economy going, keeping the lights on, doing all this stuff for wildlife. It doesn't count the contributions from your alphabet soup groups like SCI and RMEF and National Wild Turkey Federation and Trappers and Houndsmen and blah, blah, blah. Just that $1.8 billion is the cream that they skim off the top and then they send back out to the states. And it all goes to that. When HSUS says, oh, we generate $220 million a year for animal welfare. That's bullcrap. They're paying their CEO $600,000 a year.
Yeah,
They've got like 20 executives within HSUS that make over $100,000 a year. Very little of that money goes back to anything, and not for animal welfare, and none of it goes back for management and habitat restoration.
Yeah, when they throw those TV commercials up and try to get, your great aunt to shed a tear for some dog, and she sends them $20.
Yeah.
It ain't feeding them dogs.
Nope.
It's buying wacky left-wing billboards in big towns, and it's paying
So they can generate more money.
so they can generate more money.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
they're probably, if you broke it down percentage-wise, they're probably about as bad as the Red Cross,
Yep.
I'm feeling
I wanna
confident,
go-
you guys. I'm feeling really confident about 127 right now.
No, I mean that's pretty much. I would say that's in the bag.
Let's mute his mic.
Dude, yeah, I was gonna say you mute your mic.
Let's see where we're at. They're opening the lead. It's almost 200,000 votes, or it's 190,000, 168,000 votes right now.
Yeah, no, I think
Yep.
I'm feeling great right now about it. I'm feeling great because the
Yeah.
metro areas have already been counted, and that was going to be our foe. Well, I'm not going to be too crazy. It's only 50% reporting, so we still got a
Yeah,
ways
but
to
all
go.
those
But with it,
counties that are still gray, undecided,
they're
those are all going to swing red.
yeah, those are all super 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 rural places. I love it, guys. I'm loving.
Archuleta County may swing. It may go for, but I don't think they can make up 112,000 votes or 106. I'm sorry, 168,000 votes.
Mm.
All right. I think we're all going to bounce here pretty soon. I don't I don't think there's any if we lose it now, it's not because of anything we did. I
Well,
wish
and
we
I
could
also
see
think
something on
yeah, this is going to take
134.
hours to wrap up. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be
Yeah.
a minute. So yeah.
Yep.
Well, thanks for having me on, man. I really
All
appreciate
right.
it.
Yep. Hang in there until
Yeah, I'm not going to bounce until Ed has. I was just saying this was my first time joining an event here with you guys, and I don't know how much I want
glad
to
to
say
have you.
joining a raw dog with you guys, but
Hey
but-
man, yes you do. You've been waiting. You've been waiting to join a raw dog with me and Ed.
Ed, thanks for letting me on, man. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah,
I definitely would join you guys anytime you want. We can talk about my funerary wishes more and stuff.
Yeah, we do it every Tuesday.
Fox is reporting Minnesota leaning red.
Yeah, really heavy, and Trump's
Oh,
got
Minnesota,
Ohio.
yeah. Yep.
It's looking pretty good. But so Chris, where's the? Okay, so Colorado, this deal in Colorado, should be looked at as an example of what we can do. So I'm out of the loop, but what was the National Dog Hunting Association?
National Houndsman Alliance.
How's that going?
We've got a meeting on Thursday night. It's going to be we'll see how all the election shakes out, but should be a pretty upbeat meeting, especially if Colorado wins.
So I mean,
Whether they won or they lost, it was going to be it was going to be good. I think.
So what I'm getting at is that what happened in Colorado was a concerted effort with no real national organization.
Yeah.
Which should give an importance to a national organization, because if we had that organization in place, we could beat these kind of things all across America.
As long as people, the problem with hound organizations that I've seen in the past, and this is mainly breed organizations and stuff like that, but they're so focused, the membership wants the focus to be on them, and we've got to get to a point where we've got to realize that me getting my picture taken with my dog next week at some hunt that 4 other people attended does nothing for hunting in 10 or 15 years. It does nothing to secure our freedoms. And the National Houndsman Alliance wants to be that vehicle to do that. be that vessel that represents hunters and houndsmen. Even running this podcast, Ed, people are like, I wish you would. When we first started, it was like, I wish you'd talk more about blue ticks. I wish you'd talk more about this breed of dog. I wish you'd talk more about my, Mississippi leghound that trees squirrels and all this other stuff. It's like that's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to bring everybody together and give this hunting community a voice where we all get together and we share ideas and we talk to people from across the country and we bridge these gaps and within our own hunting community, but also, I mean, we've interviewed people from the North American Deer Hunters Association, the trappers, RMEF. We've had recreational shooters. We've all got to figure out how to bring this thing together, and that's going to be the main focus of the National Houndsman Alliance is to build a unified front where we're all speaking with one voice.
Well, I mean, I think it can go both ways. So, like, Houndsman XP can give a voice to that dude and, wherever that has some dogs he's proud of. And I think
Seth's doing it. Seth's doing that right now.
What do you mean?
He's just doing a real simple show, and it's brilliant. It's like, tell me about your favorite dog, and he gets these guys and he talks to people. Want to talk? I want to talk about my dog, like I want to talk about my kids. I know you do. Seth does. Seth talks about his dogs nonstop.
That's what I'm saying. So you build a community amongst dog hunters by doing that, and then when the rubber meets the road, we're closer together to fight something like 127 in Colorado.
And that's one thing that I'm not that guy that I'm not the guy that sits around the clubhouse at a coon hunt and talks about dogs from 20, 30 years ago or whatever.
I do.
I know.
Well,
that's
I
why
haven't alive that long, but yeah.
That's why I reached out to Ed Barnes. That's why I reached out to Seth Hall to build a team of people that love doing stuff like that, because I know I'm not that guy. A few minutes into a conversation and my eyes are kind of rolling back in my head and my head's starting to hurt a little bit, and I'm really Dustin Machado was the guy that said it when we went down there and hog hunted. People only know me from being behind this mic, and so they automatically think that I'm some extroverted, real talkative guy that just gets in conversation. But Ed, I guarantee you, if you and I went hunting together in the Gila, just me and you, for a week, we might say 20 words to each other a day.
Oh yeah, I'm extremely introverted.
Yeah.
But you're a little more big picture, or I'm kind of small picture.
What do you mean?
And you need both of it, So you're looking at the big picture, like
that stuff fires me up, because I look at it like, okay, if we don't figure out how we're going to save this thing, all we're going to have to do is sit around and talk about the dogs from 30 years ago.
Yeah,
that's where I come in.
I do not want to be. I won't be here in 30 years, but in 15 years, I don't want to be sitting around talking about, oh, you remember when we could hog hunt? Like,
exactly.
That was so great,
Like British people? Yeah.
Like British people.
Right.
Irish people.
Ed, how old are you?
51.
You'll be around in 30 years, dude. David's like 84. And he still does chin-ups and stuff, man. He's a beast.
I won't be around in 30 years.
I'll make sure of that.
I hope I am.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guys, I'm feeling great. This is awesome.
I am too. I'm going to look at let's look at this map one more time. Man, this sucker's almost closed out. There's 1, 2, 3. There's only 5 counties left to report.
Yeah, I got 55% reporting. I'm sorry, 50% reporting, and we got over a 10-point lead now. It's growing. Our lead is growing.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Yep. And we're looking at 200,000 votes. separating the yeses and the nos.
I'd say Colorado's a done deal. We'll find out about Arizona. I would imagine Arizona. That's probably going to pass in Arizona because I don't know anything about
I'm
that.
gonna
but
say
it's-
something real quick to the HXP world, real quick. I'm gonna totally hog this mic, but we're a team. Houndsman XP. We work as a team here, but we actually work. It's a little behind the scenes knowledge for everybody. We actually work as a very loose team. Ed's on the team, but we rarely communicate with one another. He does his thing, I do my thing. We all kind of link up with Chris, and we make sure all our stuff gets produced. So when I say this, I want this to be like super true from my heart. But Chris, I really want to take time to thank you for this, man. Like this was you all the way. This is your passion. This is what you live for. This is what you made Houndsman XP for. So like from the bottom of my heart, I really want to like give you a round of applause and a thanks for making Houndsman XP the voice for battling Prop 127 in the hound hunting community. So, and I
Yeah,
truly
you
mean
sh-
that, man.
Yeah, me too. Like you should be super proud. Like you weren't the only one, but you had a really big part in it.
I played a really small part when
I don't know about that. I think you're
In
being
our world, you played a big
humble.
part, and
Yeah.
and you're way too humble. But also, like it's just it does feel amazing to be part of this show that you built to represent us, preserve, protect, promote. And I'm just talking about your favorite dog of all time. I'm not even, or just other dumb things except jackrabbits are super important. But like everything else is not. And it's just like
it's
I
all
want.
important, man.
Well, you know what
It's
I
all
mean. You know what I
important.
mean. Like we wouldn't be talking about it if we didn't have it. So anyway, I guess where I'm going with
Right.
this is I just wanted to thank you for keeping the mission right on the rails in this regard. Something that you eat, sleep, breathe. That means something to all of us. To me, to Ed, to Tanner, to Chad, to everybody scattered across these great states. Like so, yeah, man. Thanks. That's all.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like Chris is the big picture guy, and me and Seth and Chad and Bryce and everybody else were the small picture guys.
Well, I
Well, we're just
appreciate
the
it,
party
guys.
animals.
It couldn't happen. I mean, I'm serious. It would not happen without a good team. There's just no way. There's no way I can do it all. We're going to Bardstown, Kentucky tomorrow, and going to watch some bourbon go in some bottles, and for the next run of Ledged Out, and there's just a lot of exciting stuff, and it's a lot of stuff that's busy work, trying to figure out how we're going to pay for this thing and keep everything rolling, and there's a lot of good been a lot of other really good podcasts that have sprung up because we had a vision to start this one, and I used to think of it as competition and got way too down in the weeds about being competitive with it, but I kind of finally came to the realization that that's what I set out to do in the beginning, was to make the conversations we have more mainstream in the hunting community.
Exactly.
What we do shouldn't be a fringe. We need a seat at those tables, at those commission meetings, and have a voice. And you don't get there by hiding and running and ducking and trying to appease the other side. You gotta put it out there, and you gotta teach people how to talk about it and be proud of what we do, and do it in a way that represents the whole community well. And it wouldn't be possible without Shane and you two and Shorty and I love it.
We're a loose confederation.
We are.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Yep.
are.
Yep.
Well, what do you say we wrap this one up?
Let's
Wait,
wrap
Yeah,
it
I'm
up.
about to cry.
But
Yeah.
before we wrap it up, I'm going to say that on the presidential side, I'm going to make a prediction that Trump has it.
I thought the second he got shot, he was gonna win.
I think he's got. I think he's got it. We won't know for sure. I imagine for a week, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's got it.
I'm gonna hold my
They're
breath
playing
still.
local
I'm not
news
sure.
here for some reason.
What is it?
They're playing our local news, and I don't want to see our local news right now.
No.
What's that looking like, Ed? What's the map on your end looking like right now?
Well, I mean, they haven't called Georgia yet, but it's looking Trump's favor. If he gets Georgia, I think he's going to lose Virginia, so we probably won't get the full Confederacy. I think he's going to win Georgia, but probably not Virginia. He's up in New Mexico. Arizona is not even.
He's gonna lose New Mexico. I can tell you that right now. That don't
I
even.
don't know. I mean, you're from
Dude.
there. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah,
He doesn't-
22% reporting, and he's only got a 4-point lead. That hasn't even wrapped up any of the Rio Grande corridor yet. So.
I mean, he's at a
Yeah.
4% now. He was 1.5.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I mean,
So, yeah.
I'll take your word for it. You're from there.
If
But
if
doesn't even have-
wins, I'll be. Look, Albuquerque hasn't been counted, and 1 in 4 New
Okay,
Mexicans
well,
lives in Albuquerque, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be blue. Like
But Trump doesn't even have to take New Mexico to win.
no,
It would be good.
we
if he
are a
did.
backwater. Yeah, it does not even matter. Yeah, no way.
Arizona, he's got a chance at Arizona, I think. What do you think? You know it better.
Actually, I'm going to be I'm not really an Arizona guy, but it's leaning in Harris right now. It's extremely close, less than 1%. I think Arizona is going to lean red, but that's just my opinion. She's going to get like 75 points from the Western Seaboard. So that's going to be still not enough to put her in the lead. I think Trump is going to win. But I think it's going to be very, very close. Again, this always happens though. There's always a red surge in the beginning because
Oh,
the
yeah.
East. So I'm not even gonna worry about this until I wake up in the morning, and even then, I don't think there'll be a declared winner. But we will see. We will see.
I'll probably stay up all night.
Well, like you said last week, either way, I'll close it with this. Don't get too short-sighted about it, man. You got to think about what's been allowed to cross that border for the last 4 years through the Darien Gap, down in Central America, coming up from Panama. That thing's been the Wild West down there, and everything
Man,
from Al Qaeda to Chinese nationals. If Trump
Yeah,
wins,
you got me to watch that. You got me to watch that podcast, and I've tried to get so many people to watch it, and I don't think I've got anybody to watch.
I don't know. I live on the border, so like, I have a
The-
pretty good perspective on it. It's never as bad as it's made to be out, but that's just my opinion. Also, Canada's border is a lot easier to walk across than Mexico.
well, there's footage of Arab males of fighting age walking across that border too. I'm telling you, people need to be on their toes. When you're at your kid's ball game, you need to keep your head on a swivel, because I think that's where it's going to come from. If Trump wins, because he's going to shut it down, and if Kamala wins, I think it'll just be a transition right over to whoever. Everybody thinks the war's over with Afghanistan because we pulled out of there miserably, but those people haven't put the sword down yet. They're not going to be happy until they're standing on our throats.
Those people have been fighting for 2,000 years. They like to fight.
Yeah.
And if they see weakness, they're going to fight.
Yep. So, all right, man. Robert, thanks for tuning in. And
Field
helping us.
reporter Robert Balser. Thank you.
No
buddy.
doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, Robert, holler at us next week, and we're not going to be like totally election based.
Hey, everyone, go out and listen to Robert's episode of Your Favorite Dog of All Time where he talks about Highway. Just saying. I put him up #1 on the last episode that we ran with him because it was such a good one. So thanks, Robert. You rule, buddy.
When's your next episode dropping, Seth?
I'm going to be recording a big old grip of those bad boys soon. Let's see here.
Have you got anything to put together for a show?
I got
From the
3
Patreon?
right now, so not quite. I have 3. I always drop it, just so everyone knows is listening. I always drop Your Favorite Dogs of All Time on Patreon first, and they air there for quite a while before I run them on the main show. And some stay there and live there. I got 3 right now, so I just need a couple more to slap together a full-length episode that I want to do. So, which is easy. It's actually been really great. And fans, you guys rule. Loyal listeners of Houndsman XP, family of Houndsman XP, you guys rule. And thank you for all your support. I didn't know how hard it was going to be to start getting people together to want to report or record with me, but a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm too shy. I got nothing to say." And I'm like, there is nothing easier in this world to talk about than your favorite dog of all time. It is a lot easier to talk about your favorite dog of all time than it is to talk about your favorite wife of all time. That's the truth.
Favorite wife
So-
of all time.
So, just if you guys want to join me for your favorite dog of all time, reach out. And I have some more classics coming up in the near future. So,
Yeah,
soon.
that's a great avenue for anybody to get involved.
Yeah, anyone can talk about you, and everyone says this. Oh, that was a lot easier than I thought. Everyone says that. I'm not
Yeah.
exaggerating. So I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's like, dude, your favorite dog of all time. You're talking about the favorite thing in the thing that you like to do more than anything else, which is hunt with dogs. This is your favorite aspect of it. The best dog you've ever had. Chris never asked me about Pronto. I will never stop. You know what I mean? So
Yep. So, yeah. Thanks for
Yeah, I wanna-
tuning in, everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get off here and
I haven't even
unmute-
eaten dinner yet.
I'm gonna
So-
unmute these lefties and listen to them melt.
All right. Sounds
All right,
good.
guys. Hey, everybody, have a great night. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Yeah. Talk to you later.
See you guys.